Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about weapon mounted lights versus flashlights. Do you want handheld? Do you want a weapon mounted? This is always the question that comes up. Now, a couple things is that not all weapon lights are created equal. So we have to put these into two different categories, kind of a low light versus a high light one, right? So low light being this one here, TLR 6, right? So it's not a ton of lumens on it, but it does get you some brightness. For those of you out there, it is unloaded. And I'm pointing towards a berm, so chill. You're not going to get shot through the camera. People have yelled at me for that, for like pointing a gun at the camera. You can't, the bullet cannot physically go through the camera, so y'all chill. All right, so now we have streamlight wedge, similar to a Surefire stiletto, right? There's Surefire stiletto is a little bit probably better light, but it's also a lot more expensive. So anyways. So we have the streamlight here. So this actually provides a lot of lumens, decent amount of candela, where this one, TLR 6, does not. Now, the TLR 7 is a better light for this size gun. The problem is TLR 7 is just a little bit bigger, so we sacrifice a little bit on the light to get some comfort, okay? So I have both. So if I was needing to use my light, right, we would turn both lights on, and all of a sudden now I can take this hand, I can put this down, I can drop this light, I can put it in my pocket, and I've still illuminated the area. I still can maintain positive identification on my target. And that's the problem with not having a weapon mounted light, is that we lose one of the big advantages with pistols. The big advantage with a pistol is that I can wield it with one hand, right? I can have a small gun that doesn't weigh a ton to be able to carry around with me. Without those advantages, it makes more sense to use a rifle for everything. So we have to consider that when we put these massive lights on there, we may be negating some of that advantage with the pistol. But certainly having a handheld light negates one big advantage as well, which is that I can't wield it with one hand. So I have no capability when I don't have a weapon light on here of being able to see what I'm doing while opening doors, while picking up a toddler that might be running into the middle of a dangerous situation, right? So there's a number of situations that can happen here. And this is one of the reasons why we don't just train with turning on our light with our weak hand or our non-dominant hand thumb, right? So this is ideal. I turn on my light with my non-dominant hand thumb, but we also need to practice turning it on with our finger and doing both methods, because we may not have both hands to do it with. That's the advantage to this weapon mounted light. Does that negate the responsibility to carry a flashlight? Absolutely not. You still have to carry a flashlight on you. So you can't simply pull out your firearm in a Walmart parking lot if you're looking for the keys that you dropped underneath your car, right? That doesn't work. You can't search with a weapon mounted light, because you're flagging anybody that you're searching at. You could be committing a felony, so we don't want to search with those. So if we're searching, we're using this light, and we might have this one drawn, ready to go. So if I'm searching, right, I'm searching through my house, and going to go on and off a little bit here, but I might do like a temple index or even a neck index here on my flashlight, so I can look around, bad guy, and I've got this right here, okay, and it's illuminated, my sights are illuminated, I've neck indexed, and I'm ready to go. But on the other hand, if I know my son is in the next room over and he's 3 years old and I have to go get him, I have to be able to use this weapon light, because I have to be able to grab him and have some ability to see what I'm doing while I'm trying to pick him up, and then I'm trying to navigate here. So, you know, we talk about using low light situations, right? And you'll see a number of different ways where some people will just put their hand over it, right, to eliminate that light. I don't know why you would do that, but that is a method. Not a very good method, but it certainly is out there. Better option is to turn your light off. But anyways, so if I'm turning my light off, right, so scan it, make my positive identification, okay, no positive ID. I move along my house, scan again, okay, no positive ID. Okay, that is an option out there. The problem that we run into with that is that, one, I'm aiming my firearm at anybody that I'm scanning this over, but the thing about it is that I may not have any choice, because I may have a toddler in this hand and I'm having to go through doors, and I am not going to risk my toddler while I'm going through. So while I'm going through this house, right, I'm going to be forced to scan with that weapon mounted light if I think that there's a reasonable threat in the house. I can't do it with my flashlight at that point in time and have my plan be to drop my flashlight and draw my gun at the first sign of danger if I think that there's a reasonable likelihood that somebody's in my house. Now, again, you have to be careful with this because somebody could be coming into your house. You know, it could be your teenager coming in late because they snuck out. There's a number of different scenarios that could cause that. So we want to be very, very careful about that. But the simple fact is that there's no real easy answer here. Should you have a weapon mounted light? Yes, I believe that you should. I believe that you should have a weapon mounted light on every full-size pistol that you have. And that includes what Glock calls a compact pistol. But every full-size pistol that you have, I think that you should have a weapon light. The only ones that I would say not to put a weapon light on are one that you might have as your daily carry if you can't tolerate the extra weight and the kind of cumbersome of it, because it's better for you to carry a gun without a weapon light than to not carry it all. The other one would be revolvers, obviously, because there's very limited options there. And for revolvers not being a very practical option for self-defense anymore for the most part, then that's not, lacks some of the necessity, okay? So it doesn't relieve you of your responsibility to carry a flashlight, so you still need to have a flashlight. Now, a couple things on flashlights. If you have a good quality flashlight, something like a Streamlight, a Surefire, whatever, then you have a decent quality everyday carry light. You can get away with a little bit less light on your daily on your EDC gun, right? So, like I said, I use a TLR6. If I was going to carry a cheap pin light, I would not use a TLR6. I would use a TLR7 sub, so I have a nice bright light for defensive work, because I want that light to be so powerful that it blinds them. And there's a term for it. Somebody throw it down in the comments if you can remember what it is offhand. But basically, if my light is powerful enough, it will actually overcome the assailant's light, right? The other light that's coming after me. So I want as much power coming out of that light as I possibly can get. And that's hard to get into an EDC light. So this is why, like, my nightstand light is a much bigger flashlight. It's a defensive flashlight. And that one is a really, really bright. That's a 1,000 lumen light with a really good candela rating on it. I forget what it is, but a really good candela rating on it. So it is a powerful light that puts a lot of focus in one area. This light is not near as good. TLR6s are a small light. This is just good enough for illuminating a room so that I can make sure that I make positive identification, but it is certainly not going to overpower anybody or their light. But it is bright enough that you can't stare down it, I will tell you that. But at the same time, I've got this light with me, right? So I've got the Surefire, I always want to call it, not a Surefire, Surefire Stiletto. This is the Streamlight wedge. So I've got my Streamlight wedge right there, right? So I've got options on how to carry this. I'm not a huge fan of carrying this one this way because you have to activate it with your pinky. So in this method where we go back to back on our hands, this one actually works a lot better if I can do something like a Surefire technique and hold it between my fingers. There's a lot better options for it. What I found with this one actually is that I do kind of a modified Surefire, so that way I can hit it with my thumb right there, okay? My thumb is the one that is my one index, or my one finger that has enough dexterity that I trust it to be able to turn this thing on and off as I need to. Okay, so that's the answer on whether you need a weapon mounted light or a flashlight. The simple fact is that there's no real great answer here, because if you can carry it, you should have a weapon mounted light. It may not be an option, and it does negate some of the purpose of the pistol. So keep that in mind, guys. I really appreciate y'all watching. I'm gonna go ahead and pack up here. We're out of the range, and it is really freaking hot, y'all. I mean, I don't know if NASA's ever gonna train for a mission to the sun, but if they do, it'll be in Alabama in August. I mean, this is unreal how hot it is right now. So I appreciate y'all watching. We'll catch y'all next time.